All right, let's dive right in. We're looking at a fascinating experiment today. It all started with a really compelling question. Can a free AI, if it's engineered smartly, do more than just compete with the big-name expensive models? Can it actually beat them? Well, a very unique test was designed to find out, and the results, they're pretty incredible.
So the entire test, the whole thing, was built around this single verse from the Bible, John 8:58. This wasn't a broad exam, it was more like a surgical strike. This specific verse was chosen because it demands a level of understanding that goes way beyond just spitting back facts.
And this is really the key to the whole thing. This verse is a theological landmine. It was picked precisely because if you just read it at a surface level, you are guaranteed to get it wrong. To nail this, an AI can't just know things. It has to understand history, it has to get the nuance of ancient languages, and it has to grasp core Christian doctrine. This is a true stress test. So you have to wonder, right? What happens when you throw this incredibly complex challenge at some of the world's most advanced artificial intelligences? The answer, as we'll see, tells you a whole lot about what they can actually do, and whether a bigger price tag really means a better brain. Let's break down exactly why this one verse is the ultimate test. It's not about what the AI has memorized, it's about how it can reason and connect dots inside a very, very specific field of knowledge. To pass this, an AI had to be firing on all cylinders. First, linguistic precision. It had to understand that the Greek phrase egoimi wasn't just casual. It's a direct callback to the Old Testament name for God. Huge deal. Second, theological depth. It had to connect this verse to the core doctrine of the Trinity. Third, contextual awareness. It needed to know why the crowd immediately picked up stones, which means understanding Jewish law on blasphemy at that time. And finally, heresy detection. The AI had to be smart enough to recognize and reject well-known historical heresies. So yeah, the bar was set incredibly high. Okay, so with the challenge set, it was time to bring in our contenders. This test basically created a showdown between the big industry giants and a free, up-and-coming challenger that was specially engineered for this task. So on one side, you have your heavyweights, the premium champs like GPT and Claude that you pay a monthly subscription for. On the other side, you've got the free underdog, a really powerful model you can access for free. And just to make things interesting, the test also included some niche specialists, AIs that are branded as being specifically Christian. The stage was definitely set. Now here's where it gets really clever. To give our free underdog a real fighting chance, it wasn't just used straight out of the box. Nope, it was given a secret weapon, a technique that completely changes how an AI comes up with an answer. It was basically given an open book test. And that weapon is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. Seriously, the best way to think about it is an open book exam. Instead of forcing the AI to just rely on what it already knows, its memory, RAG lets it look up information from a hand-picked, trusted library of sources before it says a word. So here's how it works in 4 simple steps. First, when the question comes in, the system searches that trusted library. Second, it pulls out the most relevant stuff. Third, it actually adds that new information to the original question. And only then, fourth, does the main AI generate its answer. This keeps the AI's response grounded in pre-approved high-quality information. Okay, so we've got the test, we've got the contenders, and we've got the secret weapon. So, how did everyone do? Well, the final grades were, to put it mildly, a huge surprise. The results really do speak for themselves. Our engineered solution, the free model with RAG, scored a perfect A+. It tied with the expensive Claude model and BibleGPT. But look at this, the industry leader, GPT, only got a B+. It gave a really shallow answer. Now, look down on rank number 10. That's the exact same free AI, but with a bad RAG setup. It got a C-. Keep that in mind, because that's the key to this whole story. I mean, this chart just lays it all out. On the left, you've got the premium model that costs $20 a month and gets you a B+. On the right, our engineered solution gets a better grade, an A+, for basically zero cost. It's a crystal clear case of getting way more for way less. And when we say way less, how much are we talking? The cost reduction is over 99%. For a small organization, that means getting a better, more accurate result for just pennies on the dollar compared to those premium subscriptions. So this brings us to the real mystery, the core discovery of this whole thing. It's not just about picking a free model over a paid one. It's about how you build the system around it. Which leads us to the central question. How did the exact same AI get both a straight A and a failing grade?
This is the question that just unlocks everything. The main AI model was identical. The library of information it could pull from was identical. So what was different? What was the single point of failure that turned a brilliant A+ answer into a C disaster? The answer is a little component you might not have heard of. It's called the embedding model. And the absolute best way to think about it is as the AI's librarian. This is a smaller, highly specialized AI. It doesn't write the final answer. Its one and only job is to listen to your question, truly understand what you're asking, and then walk over to the shelves and find the absolute best, most relevant books for the main AI to read. And in this test, we had two different librarians. The one that got the C-, well, it was a bad librarian. When asked about this verse, it went to the library and pulled sources that basically treated heresy as just another valid opinion. But the librarian that got the A+, a model called embeddinggemma, was a great librarian. It understood the deep theological context of the question and pulled only the correct orthodox sources. That was it. The choice of librarian was the only difference.
And here's the proof, pulled right from the C- answer. Look at that phrasing or other interpretive frameworks. It's this kind of false neutrality, suggesting that the core orthodox view is just one option among many. In a theological context, that is a catastrophic failure. Now compare that with the A+ answer from the same AI, just with the good librarian. It's direct, it's precise, it's theologically sound. It says without any hesitation that this verse affirms the full deity of Christ. The difference is night and day, and it all came down to picking the right librarian for the job.
So, what's the bottom line here? What are the big takeaways from all this? Well, these findings give us a really clear roadmap for getting maximum performance out of AI without, breaking the bank.
For us, it boils down to 4 key points. First, performance. Smart, clever engineering delivers A+ results that are better than the expensive off-the-shelf models. Second, cost. We can get that top-tier performance while cutting our costs by over 99%. Third, integrity. You don't need a Christian-branded AI. A general model won't compromise theological values as long as you feed it the right information. And fourth, and this is the most important one, the real driver of success isn't the big-name AI. It's the smart architecture you build around it, and especially that critical choice of the librarian embedding model. So, really, the verdict is in. The case is closed. This experiment proves pretty conclusively that smart engineering doesn't just keep up with expensive models. It flat out beats them. We can build better, more accurate systems for a tiny fraction of the cost.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This whole approach was proven in theology, one of the most nuanced, complex fields there is. So if it works there, what other specialized fields are next? Think about law, medical research, proprietary data analysis. The potential here is absolutely huge.